Hi, I'm Allison. I'm a reading specialist and I help parents whose kids are struggling with reading. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what to do if your 8-year-old child or even your 9 or 10-year-old child can't read at all yet, or they're struggling, or they're a little bit or a lot of bit behind. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, make sure to do that now, and then also hit the little bell so that you're notified every time I post a brand new video. Okay, so if your child isn't reading and they're 8 years old or above, number one, don't panic. 20% or more of kids have trouble learning to read, so you're definitely not alone. Doesn't mean that you failed your child. However, you do want to take action right away, because the longer we wait to address a reading problem, the bigger the reading problem becomes and the more difficult it becomes for a child to catch up, not to mention the impact on their self-esteem. So don't panic. You don't need to beat yourself up, but at the same time, we do want to take action right away. And I'm going to show you what that looks like right here, right now. Assuming that your child is not homeschooling and that they're attending school, you're going to want to have a conversation with their teacher. Their teacher hopefully will already have been speaking with you, but you're going to want to see kind of their perspective, and you want to ask for an evaluation. Most schools here in the United States, public schools anyway, will be able to give that evaluation. Typically that's free, but you may have to ask for it, and you may have to ask more than once. I'm not sure how it works in other countries, but you want to pursue some kind of evaluation to see if your child has a reading problem. That can also be pursued privately, if that's something that you want to, look into, but typically, at least here in the United States, in the public schools, it's going to be free, and they have to evaluate your child if you ask them to do so, again, in a public school. So that's that, but that's an important step, but also don't wait on your child to be evaluated. Don't wait on the school in order to take action. There are things that you can do on your own immediately. One of those things is to make sure that your child's vision and hearing are okay, which you may already have done, but it's just a good idea to make sure that those issues are not getting in the way of their reading. The next thing you want to do is you want to start working with your child. Now, you can absolutely look for a tutor. However, just so you know, once a week tutoring is not going to get them caught up nearly as quickly as if you are the one who sits down and works with them, 3-4 times a week. And you might not know what to do with them, but I'm going to show you right here, and I have some other resources that will help you. One of those resources is my free parent guide. I will include a link in the caption of this video so that you can grab it. Again, it's free. It'll help you pinpoint exactly what reading skills your child needs to work on so that you know what to do with them when you do work on them, okay? So in your schedule, set aside 3 to 4 times a week. You could just start with 2 if 2 feels manageable. Set aside 30 to 45 minutes to help your child. And if you feel like, oh my gosh, my schedule's so busy, I want you to take a step back and remember, number one, that this reading issue is something that's going to affect their whole life and their abilities in school, right? So it's a high priority. And then number two, 30 minutes is just like the amount of a TV show. So hopefully somewhere you and your child have in your schedule 30 minutes where you can sit down, work on reading. You can make it fun. I'll show you how to make it fun because this is really what's going to get them up to speed the most quickly. If you need coaching and you need materials to be able to work with your child, I've got that covered too. My Rising Readers Parent Program, I will also include a link in this caption, and I'm going to walk you through right now like which activities to do with your child. But of course, in the program, we provide all of this for you and help you understand exactly how to do it. All right, so once you know what skill you're going to start with first, and again, that free parent guide will tell you exactly where to start, you want to set up your sessions something like this. Doesn't have to be exactly like this, but here's a good order. I like to start my little reading help sessions with a game. A game is something that draws the kids in. It gets them practicing, but they just feel like they're playing and having fun, right? So let's say that a child is working on beginning R blends. They're going to play with their parent this quick little game, and they roll the die, they race to be the first one to finish, and they're reading R blend words along the way. So it's instant practice, right? And you would have had to show them how the R blends work before they play this game. So this is assuming that they have a little bit of experience. You wouldn't play a game with them on a skill that they have no level of mastery, right? This is really just like to review and to give them a little bit more practice. So a game is a really great place to start. The next thing I do when I'm working with a child is typically some work with sounds. So let's say again that they're working on R blends, like the word grip or grab or, what else? Trip or drop. R blends at the beginning of a word. So what you can do is you can say the sounds in an R blend word and have them blend them together. So you would say, for example, d, op, and the child would say drop. They're putting the sounds together to make a word. So I do a couple of those and then I do the opposite. This time I say the word like grab and the child has to tap out the word and say the individual sounds. So I say grab, they say grab, and then they tap g, b, grab. They're tapping on their hand that is not the one that they write with so that they can actually tap out when they are writing words. And they're tapping from left to right. It might show the opposite on the screen, I'm not sure, but from where they're sitting, it should be g, b, from left to right, just like they read. Okay, so we do a couple of examples of those, and that's how we work on sounds. I know it's not actually reading, but those sound activities really help them with their reading and spelling. The next thing that I usually do, and you can do this at this point or you can do it like before or after the lesson, is some work on high frequency words. There are certain words that appear often in text but are very tricky because they can't like be sounded out typically. And your is an example of one of those words, right? Like the spelling pattern O-U-R is a little weird. And then if you think about the word you, that's pronounced differently from your. So this is an example of a high frequency word. And however you want to practice those is great. But the most effective way to practice them is actually to teach the kids the relationships between the letters and sounds. So in this little sheet, and again, this is in Rising Readers, you are having the child trace the word, they find and circle the word, and you're also talking about the word, right? Like you're teaching them, this is the word your, here's an example, your coat is on the floor, and then maybe they come up with a sentence, your something, right? So you're talking about the word, they're tracing it, they're finding it, and then you can use like two little pennies here, and they push a penny, put them on the dots, and they push a penny for every sound in the word, y, or. Okay, and then they write the word your into the sound boxes. And again, we train you how to do this in Rising Readers, and we give you everything you need to know. So I know it's a lot of information, but we got you covered there. Like the Y would go here, y, and then the O-U-R would go here, or. So they write it, and what this does is it helps them understand the relationships between the letters and the sounds. These are called sound boxes, okay? Next, they read the word, they tap it out on their arm, Y-O-U-R, your. Do that 3 times. They write the word, and then they read a couple of sentences with the word. This worksheet just makes it really easy to do a lot of activities, and the different types of activities and multi-sensory work really helps imprint it into the kids' memories more than just a flashcard. Now, once kids have like learned a word pretty well and they just need some practice, it's totally okay, and it's good to go through some flashcards, but this is a great way to teach the kids, teach your child a word for the first time. Again, these are included in Rising Readers. So that little portion is on a high frequency word. I only introduce one word at a time, although we may be practicing some previous words, and that can go at this point in the lesson, or you can do it at the beginning or the end of the lesson. Okay, so next up, you're gonna want to introduce a new skill to your child or review a skill. So, you know, with that example, we've been working on R blend words, remember like grab and drop. And so if I were introducing the concept in the lesson, I might like write an example word and show them, hey, you know, in the word drop, the d and the are blended and it sounds like dr, right? Do you hear that sound? So talking about how 2 consonant sounds get blended together. In Rising Readers, we actually have videos that do that teaching for you, so you don't even need to worry about. So after you teach or review a skill, then you want to have them read some words with that skill, okay? Maybe some words and some sentences. So these like frog, fret, these are all R blend words. Again, this is from Rising Readers, and they're working on individual words before they go into like reading an entire text. Okay, next up, we're gonna spell some words with our target skill. And so you might think like, spelling, that's not reading, but actually spelling helps reinforce their reading abilities. So like, you know, an R blend word might be something like, well, frog, the example. So you want them to tap it out, f-r-a-g, and then have them choose. And this could be done with magnetic letters like this, or it could be done, with like a whiteboard, have them actually spell the word. And then I do something called tap it back, where they say f-r-o-g, frog. So they're again connecting the letters to the sounds and reading the word after they've spelled it. So again, this is great with a whiteboard, magnetic letters, however you want to have them spell words. Last but not least, we want to get the kids actually reading some kind of text. And this Frog in the Trap, as you can see, has lots of R blends in it. So they're getting to practice all that they learned and actually read a fun little story. They might read the whole story, they might read half of it, but you also want to talk to them about the meaning of the text, have them tell you what happened in the text, ask them a couple of questions to make sure that they really understood the story. And when you have them read a story more than once, which I highly, highly recommend, their comprehension will improve over time. You want to stay on one single skill until your child demonstrates 80 to 90% or better proficiency with that skill, meaning they can read and spell 80 to 90% of the words that you give them with that skill, okay? I know this was a lot of information. Let's recap really quickly. Number one, grab my free guide that will help you know exactly what phonics skills to work on. Phonics skills are the building blocks of reading, and so for your child to become a more successful reader, they have to have a really strong foundation in phonics. So figure out what skills to work on with this, okay? Number two, you want to set aside some time in your schedule so that, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, you sit down with your child, you start working with them, and, you can be asking the school or getting them evaluated elsewhere, but this stuff works even if your child has a reading disability. This will help get them going quickly. When you sit down to work with them, I recommend starting with a game, do some work with sounds. Remember how we were tapping things out? Do some work with high frequency words. That part is kind of flexible where it goes in the lesson. Teach or review a new skill. You don't have to be a teacher in order to do this, although in Rising Readers, I did the teaching for you because I have the little videos you can just put on for the kids. So teach or introduce a new skill, have them read words with the skill, have them spell words with the skill, have them read a text, a whole little passage or story or whatever with that skill, okay? Stay on the skill until your child has 80 or 90% proficiency, and then move on to the next skill. And this free parent guide will tell you the sequence of skills to work on, so make sure to grab it. I know that was a lot of information, so feel free to save this video to rewatch. Feel free to comment with any questions you have. And I would also love to give you all of these resources so you don't have to deal with trying to find them or guessing at any of this. I would love for you to have everything in one place so you can work with your child and help them start making progress quickly, okay? Free parent guide link is in the caption. Link to apply to Rising Readers. My parent coaching program is in the caption. So I hope to see you inside Rising Readers, but at least grab that freebie. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope that this was helpful. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.